Thank you, Senator Schumer and Senator Blumenthal. Greetings, everyone. In January of 2009, I was working as a commercial truck driver for Trans Am Trucking Incorporated of Olathe, Kansas. I was hauling a load of meat through the state of Illinois. After stopping to resolve a discrepancy in the location to refuel, the brakes on the trailer froze. I contacted my employer and they arranged for a repair unit to come to my location. I expected that help would arrive within an hour. I awoke 3 hours later to discover that I could not feel my feet. My skin was burning and cracking. My speech was slurred, and I was having trouble breathing. The temperature that night was roughly 27 degrees Fahrenheit below zero. The heater in the cabin was not producing heat, and the temperature gauge in the truck was reading -7 degrees below zero. After informing my employer of my physical condition, they responded by telling me to simply hang in there. As I sat there physically suffering in the cold, I started having thoughts that I was going to die. My physical condition was fading rapidly. I decided to try to detach the trailer from the truck and drive to safety. When I stepped out of the truck, I was concerned that I may fall because I was on the verge of passing out. I feared that if I fell, I would not have the strength to stand up and would die. I walked to the back of the trailer to place a lock on the cargo doors. The distance that I walked to the back of the trailer seemed like an eternity, as my feet absolutely had no feeling at all. I eventually was able to detach the tractor from the trailer. Before I left, I called my employer to notify them that I had decided to head for shelter, and they ordered me to either drag the trailer or stay put. In my opinion, clearly their cargo was more important than my life. My employer fired me for disobeying their orders. And I'd like to make it clear that although I detached the tractor from the trailer, I returned and I completed my job, and I was still fired. Okay. I disputed my termination from Trans Am Trucking and ultimately won. This was a 7-year battle. 7 different judges heard my case. One of those judges found against me. That judge was Neil Gorsuch. Fortunately, 2 other judges on the appeal panel decided in favor of my case, and ultimately I was victorious. In recent days, I have discovered that Judge Neil Gorsuch has been nominated for Supreme Court Justice by our nation's president. I have come to understand that because of his nomination, Judge Gorsuch's dissent in the case of Trans Am Trucking Incorporated versus Alphonse Maddin has become a subject of scrutiny throughout the nation. Although the victorious outcome of this case was the culmination of a 7-year legal battle between myself and Trans Am Trucking, I wholeheartedly consider it a victory for the nation's workers. This is because at risk was the idea that an employer could legally force his employees to endure physical suffering and expose themselves to hazardous environments that are not suitable for sustaining human life. In light of Judge Gorsuch's Supreme Court nomination, many people have become interested in my opinion. First and foremost, please know that I am very thankful that our nation's judicial system ultimately rejected Trans Am Trucking's argument. Also, please know that I have great respect and admiration for Judge Gorsuch's accomplishments, the position that he holds, and the position that he has currently been nominated for. That withstanding, I was completely astonished upon discovering that my case was garnering so much attention as a result of Judge Gorsuch's Supreme Court nomination. Nonetheless, the notion that the only judge who issued a dissent relating to the matter of Alphonse Maddin versus Trans Am Trucking has been nominated to become our nation's next Supreme Court justice gives me pause for concern. This is because after reviewing the wording of Judge Gorsuch's dissent concerning my case, it is my opinion that he demonstrated a willingness to artfully diminish the humane element that encompassed the issue and ignored the fact that the nation's Congress passed the Surface Transportation Assistance Act into law to uphold and maintain safe and humane working conditions. Considering the foregoing, I can only ask that people of this great nation, including the elected officials whose duty requires them to effect the nomination of this nation's next Supreme Court justice, consider the national ramifications on working people if the Supreme Court would have allowed Trans Am trucking to prevail in this matter, as would have happened if Judge Gorsuch's ideology prevailed. Finally, please know that after enduring such a long legal battle, I am hopeful that its legacy bolstered our nation's integrity and further secured the safety of our nation's workers. On behalf of myself and the working people of this country, I appreciate your interest in this matter. Thank you.